what happens when a student begins to struggle during the program, or if they do? How do you all support them? What are the networks? And you alluded to some of these here just a minute ago.
Yeah, I'm going to take us to the DBA for a moment because that's a longer journey. That's a journey of 54 credits, and again, depending on your background, 54 or less. But it's a 3.5 to 4.5 year commitment. And so my experience in that program is that's a long haul. That is incredible dedication. And in the DBA program, we talk about being a practitioner scholar. So, as you're taking courses both in your discipline, in economics, in global organizational behavior, you're also taking research courses. And usually, in my experience, when students hit the third semester, they also encounter what we call the DBA wall or the PhD wall. And it can either be a friend or it can really cause you to go, what am I doing? Where am I going? And you can just see it on faces in class, and that's why the Zoom sessions are, and Saybrook has a long history of teaching online, so it's not anything new to us, but watching faces. So usually by the third semester, we're well prepared to anticipate and expect that there will be a meeting of the wall. And so often, I'll use my own class. I'm teaching right now a class in consulting for the DBA students. We actually pause in the session itself to do that, not just the initial reflection, but to talk about, let's pause here and let's talk about the rest of the journey. Let's set context. Let's talk about your dissertation question. What's working you, as Angeles Arian would say, as a good organizational developer. And so we pause for those conversations and then buffet them by, again, really encouraging these mentoring. The other thing we encourage, and this comes from another student, so I can't take credit for it, 50 cups of tea. Or coffee, depending on your preference. So have you used your first 3 semesters here to have coffee or tea virtually with professors from other disciplines,
Mm.
from other students? How are you building this amazing virtual Rolodex of contacts, connections, and good ideas so you're supported by an even larger community? Not to give students more work, but those connections matter. They rejuvenate, they refuel, they give courage. And then we start to bring in, and we're getting ready to do this for our residential conference that's coming up. We're going to bring in those students who've finished their dissertations. And so they see what's possible. They see hope. They get the oh my God. But the wall then starts to come down. Possibility blooms, and however people get over the wall, some with grace, some not, it doesn't matter. They're supported on that journey.
Yeah, I think I know more people who might have been not as graceful. Probably myself was in that grouping. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
But I made it out. Maybe a little sweaty for the wear, but it was all good. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I've never heard it quite put that way. The third semester PhD or DBA wall. That's very, very well stated. And I love, so just to put a fine point on this, the idea of reaching out, 50 cups of tea, you said, right? Or coffee.
50 cups of tea or coffee, your choice.
Yeah. And really making those connections across the university, of your network, and really using that as your point of inspiration.
Well, and there's a practical notion to that from a business perspective. You're starting to figure out who you'd like on your dissertation committee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they know you. So strategically, which is something we also teach in the DBA and the MBA, strategically, you're starting to align with what you need to finish your dissertation. So there's a practical call to it as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that. That's fabulous. So, I think we've had several golden tips today just in this first half hour or so we've been on. So, on the MBA, DBA side of things, again, typically the MBA students a different profile in terms of those who come to us. However, I know we've got folks who are maybe not working full time, are coming back for a second career, upskilling as we call it in certain aspects of higher ed. What about post degree? Do I get a job right away if I'm a graduate? Are there internships, practicums required as part of this? What are some of the things that I need to do to make sure? And that 50 cups of tea, that's like a fabulous starter point right there. But yeah, any thoughts on it?
I think I'm going to take us back to the relationship between faculty and students. One of the value adds of our Saybrook programs, both MBA, DBA, and PhD, is that the cohorts, the learning communities are small. So that means we get to learn about each other's dreams. When people introduce themselves, we have them introduce themselves with the front part of the business card and the back side of the business card. So, what is it that you want to do in the world, and what are your values and purpose? Because we know that cultural fit, and aligned purpose really make a difference. So, in a way, we start during orientation as people introduce themselves as faculty to begin to go, this person's going to need an internship here, or they're looking for work here. And I have to tell you, our student services are really, I just got off a call that, you were there as well, Dr. Long, where the services that are being offered by our Student Services Division are just they enhance our ability as faculty. The Handshake program, the program that actually financially supports students joining organizations like ISSP. Then we encourage them, so when are you going to give a presentation and test your ideas among your colleagues? When are you going to go and make use of a network site that exposes you to, cups of coffee numbers 7 through 14. And so part of also class assignments at times include you have the opportunity to go and listen to the World Resource Institute. You get to go listen to that because we want you to connect with them and understand that there are jobs in that field that you may not have thought about. It's always an area that needs improvement, needs strength, but I think we have a good foundation underneath us in partnership with our colleagues across the university. And again, it starts in day one. And part of my selection of faculty is, are you faculty that share the wealth?
Mm.
And that means, are you willing to go the extra mile with students and say, I'll be a reference for you? Or I've got a colleague in this institution that I think you need to do an internship with. And so we're fortunate to be surrounded by that amazing generosity.
That's wonderful. So, just to highlight and accentuate the point that you raised with our student affairs team. So, fun fact for those out there, Saybrook is a largely fully virtual university for the most part. We have our residential conferences for certain programs, but we have one of the a growing student affairs team. So we'll be one of the first fully virtual with a robust student affairs department. It has student groups, has all the things that you might find at a bricks and mortar institution, and on the career side has been building out a career services platform that ties into this. So if you are newer to the world of work, you're coming out of bachelor's pursuing your MBA, there are opportunities there as well as across the university in terms of that 50 cups of tea. I think that's what we probably should title this episode.
I have to give my now colleague John Childs credit for that 50 cups of coffee.
All right, John, thank you. That was fabulous. I love it. So admissions, let's flip to there. So thank you for providing that clear and really robust understanding of the program itself. Admissions is kind of murky for any graduate student. I don't know if you remember when I went through it, it was sort of the papal decision-making process. Like, who's making the decision? What happens? The puff of white smoke comes out or black smoke, and you're in, you're not in. So maybe you could demystify what this all looks like from the MBA, DBA program's perspective, and specifically how you might prepare students for that admissions process. In previous interviews I've done with department chairs or faculty members, they've positioned it as what are the top 5 things our prospective students can do to create a great application? So something along those lines.
I'm going to take us to the DBA program and talk about a student that I had the privilege of interviewing who then subsequently decided to join our Saybrook family, and we decided that she would be an incredible addition to the DBA program. This shouldn't surprise you, Nathan. We ask that our potential students come to the admissions process with curiosity in mind, with a commitment to discernment, and an ability to ask what we call powerful questions.